It's finally here, Skibidi Toilet 79 Part 3.
I don't even know what's gonna happen, dude.
I want to look at the comments. Bro. I don't want no spoilers, bro. I haven't seen it. Let's watch it.
Jeffrey. Oh, hold on, chat. What? I'm so confused by this episode, chat. It's different.
But it was an interesting episode. I think the animation definitely wasn't as good as I'm used to.
Why can't I see what's happening, bruh?
The new Skibidi Toilet toys are here. Take it.
That just ruined the episode. I can't even lie. That just ruined the whole episode for me. I cannot even lie, bro. I thought we were gonna see Titan Speaker Man sitting there looking all epic and shit. Okay, I like the first part of the episode, but the last part, I did not like. But anyway, chat, as always, though, I will say W Skibidi Toilet.
Hello, everyone. Iron Cameraman here. Something radically strange has been happening to the Skibidi Toilet series since the release of episode 79, part 3. But what exactly? I've already gone in detail about what's wrong with that episode in terms of story and animation, but it turns out it also carries a hidden meta-level message, and in fact, it's even partially not part of the main Skibidi Toilet storyline, which you'll soon see for yourselves. And more importantly, my find explains all the weirdness in the latest videos on Boom's channel. So today I strongly ask you to watch this video to the very end and drop a like, because without exaggeration, I believe this is the most important video in the entire history of my channel. There are several clues that point to something being off with episode 79. For example, for almost the entire period of its rollout, Boom pretended, and still pretends, to be an AI robot. Whenever he's asked about the quality of the episodes, he answers very positively and in a templated way, because all of it is written through artificial intelligence. In one of them, he even attached a voice message generated by AI, where he says he's not a robot.
I wish to officially confirm that I am not and have never been a clanker.
At the time of their release, I didn't understand why he was doing it. But with the appearance of the new series Emergence and other news, we now have enough context to rewatch episode 79 from a different angle. And considering the meta arc with Officer Balls, the current meta AI arc, where he replies to everyone like a robot, is also done very cleverly and between the lines. When he's in character, he always writes in hints. Let me remind you that the result and culmination of the previous meta arc was the appearance of an episode published by Stake, and the fact that he showed us Mr. Boom's desktop. I assume that if in the Officer Balls trolling the culmination was Stake publishing an episode, then in the current case, when 3 videos have already come out and he still keeps answering in the same style, it means the finale is going to be something completely different. And it looks like I figured out its meaning ahead of time. Let's start our detective investigation with context, so we can tie what's happening in episode 79, metaphorically, to what's going on his YouTube channel and the general situation. To get a rough sense of what Boom is like as an animator and in working with a team, let's look at what happened with episode 78. He decided to let animators Strider and Deer from Ohio, some of the top SFM animators, try to make that episode, but in the end, episode 78 was made by Boom himself. The description states that those animators were assistants, while Strider made a big post where he explained the situation in more detail. In short, it turns out that even though the animation turned out good, they had to pass on it. But in terms of character design, he's still working with Boom. Strider also adds that Boom wants to make everything as high quality and personal as possible, and you can't blame him for that. He's doing it for the fans. Judging by the description of episode 79, the same can be said about Deer from Ohio. Even though he isn't animating for Boom, he continues to work with him and made the design of Watchmen of Doom and the location. In other words, it's important to Boom to control the series at every stage, so it remains author-driven and as good as we're used to. However, along the way, he still hasn't found the right method of working with animators to get exactly the result he wants to see in a given scene, so he does the animation himself. We should also remember that before episode 78, he wrote to Ibio about the amount of light and that a new technology was being used for the new episodes. Thanks to this so-called new technology, episode 78 became the peak of image quality and richness for the entire series. Besides that, if anyone forgot, Boom has repeatedly spoken about the poor, unclear story from Dom's studio, and in episode 74, there was even a reference to their races where POV throws clocks, pencils, and drills off the table. And in his words, letting Dom Studio make a skibidi series was a huge mistake. That is, he even cares about the story in another universe that could potentially distort his series' plot by showing the Astro toilets incorrectly, and so on. And these are just some examples I brought up to remind you. Boom has always put the authorial vision, the thing that makes skibidi toilet, first, and he kept improving it throughout the series' entire run. That has always been his priority, despite the long waits and viewers begging him to speed up. Therefore, I very much doubt Boom wanted Emergence to come out on his channel this raw, with catastrophic mistakes in animation and story, which I explained in detail in 2 recent 20-minute videos. I won't repeat myself here. If you're interested, go watch those videos. And before Emergence came out, there was a message from Boom where he says that now, a whole creative team of people who understand the DNA of skibidi toilets will be making the episodes. By the way, 5 days after the release of episode 79 part 3, a mysterious video came out on Mr. Boom's friend's channel, where all characters of the 3 races are headless, set to sad music. And 2 days after the release of the full episode 79, the same channel posted a second short, but this time, the skibidi toilet characters are without toilets and also set to sad music. Whether it was made by Boom himself or by Boom's friend isn't that important. What matters here is the style itself and what they mean. The title literally says, incomplete. I talked in more detail here about other clues and why I assume this was animated by Boom. We can only guess what's going on behind the scenes. But one thing is obvious. Whoever it is inside Boom's new team, because of them, skibidi toilet is literally dying. The views speak for themselves. And since Boom isn't saying anything about this directly at all we have from him are that very letter, the incomplete clips, and the AI Boom messages, which means we have to dig deeper. That's what I've been doing these last few days, and now we've reached the most interesting part. It turns out Boom's answer was right in front of our eyes this whole time. All this time he was trying to communicate with us through episode 79. What am I talking about? I'll explain right now. Even before episodes 78 and 79 came out, Boom wrote that they would be released as a single part, like in the good old days. And as you know, episode 78 did indeed come out the way he planned. But episode 79 started coming out in parts. At first he wanted to split it into 2, but in the end we got as many as 3 parts. Also, as we remember, he said that in episode 79, we would learn something that would reveal a lot of information about the conversation from episode 60. But since that didn't happen, that's yet another indirect confirmation that episode 79 changed compared to how it was originally conceived. Now let me remind you of episode 79's plot. We're attacked by TV Man Titan, who is under the villain's control and can't control himself while he's asking us to forgive him. The villain, represented by Duchess, says that only power decides things and that they'll seize everything by force. We also fail to negotiate a peaceful settlement. This is voiced by the skibidi hybrid with a briefcase, claiming that the only way out is an attack. In the end, one of the soldiers takes the blame upon himself and dies, and he's replaced by a new version. No one notices the swap, because for many nothing has changed. Only POV Speakerman waves his hands and tries to explain that he noticed something strange. The detective then takes this evidence to investigate the case. And here's why this plot looks so much like what's happening in real life. I have a theory that everything Boom showed in episode 79 is a play, part of the AI Boom arc. Almost all of the characters' lines, their types, and the plot itself fit the current situation perfectly. That's why the episode looked so strange when we watched it without context, before all the latest news. That's why it seemed confusing to many, which is confirmed by numerous reactions, breakdowns, and viewer comments. Now let's speculate on this topic. Who is who in episode 79, really? I think Watchman of Doom in this story personifies Boom's channel, which is captured by AI Boom, the very one who's always positive but templated, answering only with set phrases. And what captured it is the core parasite. That's the very traitor that needs to be eliminated for TV Man Titan to return to the Alliance. Jeffrey in this play, as I see it, is the main observer. After all, this dimension belongs to him, and he's the one who made skibidi so popular. That's why I think Jeffrey is the power of the united fandom. It's all the viewers of Skibidi Toilet. And that's why he can easily cancel anything at all. He's the decider here. That's why he is so powerful here, and his hand is even bigger than Doom himself. By the way, YouTuber Hot Sauce Beats conveyed the fandom's reaction to this scene perfectly, back when we still didn't understand what it really meant.
Who's Jeffrey? Is Jeffrey a new TV titan of some sort? I mean, am I misseeing that? Did he just smack the Watchmen of Doom? Titan TV man?
Doom, by the way, says directly that they now own this area, and Polycephaly TV Man, who most likely personifies Boom himself, failed to defeat him because he's too weak to compete with a full Titan. Isn't that too many coincidences, guys? Jeffrey literally says this is his universe. Before that, he was just a secret character who appeared in the previous episode 78, and suddenly, he sharply became a super powerful god. This doesn't fit the overall logic of Skibidi Toilet. And that's why I think Jeffrey, as he was shown in that scene, isn't a real character but a metaphor, a nod to us, the viewers. I assume that originally Jeffrey was conceived by Boom purely for the plot, but then he rewrote him for episode 79 to convey a meta-message. Moving on. Old Camera Woman, who blamed herself and died, symbolizes the old era of Skibidi Toilet. And the new Camera Woman is the new era we see in the Emergence series. TV scientist and the detective personify the viewers who don't understand what POV Speakerman is talking about. No one believes him because he can't prove his words. The viewers see in front of them that Camera Woman seems to be standing there, and it looks like everything is fine. This creates the perfect alibi. If you look only at what's being published on Boom's channel, it really seems like there's no catch. But how do you prove to the Alliance that this is a fake? That it's not the same thing as before? That's where Cameraman Detective appears, who tries to figure it out, having all the facts. At the same time, in this play, the original Camera Woman, who personifies the old era of Skibidi Toilet, admits that it all happened because of her, that she disappeared not because of an external enemy, like the Astro Toilets, but because of her own rash actions that led to a traitor appearing in the Alliance's ranks in the form of the core parasite. But if, like me, you don't have enough confidence to believe in such an absurd situation that's taking shape, then here are even more clues. On Boom's Discord server a long time ago, a new text channel was created called TV Franchise, where he was genuinely happy that Skibidi would soon become a whole franchise, essentially confirming even then that new projects were coming, like this new Emergence series, and the fandom was also very inspired by this news. However, after some time, he removed TV Franchise from Discord and even wrote a message like this, which says he's upset that he doesn't see any progress on the movie, at least he isn't getting new updates on it, and moreover, he isn't involved in the process or any details. The second message contains even more details. Let me quote it in full. There was also more recent idea to make sort of short project on their end, kind of collab, and this idea is in some sort of stage at least for a half a year now. It's like Noon is working, or at least Noon is transparent about it. I'm completely isolated from process. No concepts, no updates. Something imprecise and blurry was described on the phone about it. I seen bits of script, and that's it. I feel like a fool. My hope is dying with immense speed now. Let me remind you that after this, Michael Bay posted a video where he says the process is ongoing and we'll see something soon, and Boom wrote that he talked to Bay and now he's back to having an understanding, as he even made a cool little animation where he celebrates that news. It gives the impression that he gets details about the movie very rarely. Of course, in those messages, Boom was talking mainly about the movie, but seeing what problems Emergence has in animation and story, then in my opinion, it's possible the same problem, where he was barely involved in the production process, happened here too. It's not out of the question that the small project mentioned is Emergence, but we don't know for sure. If the result and quality of the new series were, let's say, on the level of Murder Drones or close to it, and if the storytelling were properly linked to the main series and better than Boom's series, That'd be a different conversation. I'm sure in that case, Boom wouldn't have started the AI Boom arc. But when we see a regular series that looks more like a fan-made project rather than the quality viewers were expecting, that's exactly what the fandom dislikes. In other words, if the fake camera woman were at least similar to the original, or even better looking, then great. Old camera woman wouldn't be against a new, better camera woman living alongside her at the same time. By the way, if you don't understand what's wrong with the new camera woman, Emergence, I recommend watching Plunger's video, where he lays everything out very objectively. Also, Boom has been answering more and more often that he doesn't know what will happen next when replying to plot questions. We've already lost the cameraman base, the speakerman base is next, and if those viewers who are in the speakerman base don't believe the words of Cameraman Detective, then the fake camera woman will keep pretending she's real. We need to expose this and, with some strategy, revive the real camera woman. In fact, we can go even deeper with analogies and with searching for hidden meanings in episode 79. For example, Speakerman Titan's speech where he says he isn't ready yet and not to release him may be a reference to the Emergent series. But for my theory, what I've already listed is more than enough, so let's move on. The scariest thing about this whole situation is that it's not even clear how to defeat Watchman of Doom, because we don't want to attack hard and accidentally kill him. We want to peacefully remove only the parasite, like G-Squad tried to do. That way, we bring back the old era and keep TV Man Titan alive. But in any case, whatever outcome awaits us, I'm not going to give up and watch TV Man Titan continue to be under control. Whose fault led us to this situation isn't that important. Either way, it's too early to give up. There's still hope that we'll be able to complete this mission and bring back normal Boom instead of AI Boom. This whole video today is also written between the lines in its own way. I didn't give you answers, I gave you clues and a place where you can look for other details for your theories. Be iron detectives, don't stay on the sidelines. Help solve this new meta arc from Boom together. Let's find out who's behind the villain's mask. I'm sure you'll be able to put the puzzle together and send this video to your favorite skibidi toilet YouTubers so they can react. It's easier to put puzzles together as a team. And if the creator of the new camera woman is watching this video, know this. Making mistakes isn't scary, it's part of growth. But the one who won't admit their mistakes, won't try to fix them, and pretends everything's fine. That's where the real problem is. No one on the internet respects that kind of behavior, because here honesty, openness, and real evidence are valued, like with POV Speakerman, not just a pretty facade. The best way out of this situation is at least to talk honestly with the Alliance and take objective and constructive feedback into account. Don't plug your ears and think this new camera woman is made fine. She needs to be improved, polished, and the production of these new camera women should be handed to a team that truly knows what it's doing and understands how to work with the author, so the new project is on the same level as or even better than the original. Viewers have already said enough. The ball is in your court now. The entire future of Skibidi Toilet depends on how you respond. Iron Cameraman is out.
This episode was different. And the only thing I can compare it to is if we were to compare it, like, say someone directed a sequel. Like, I feel like this is Skibidi Toilet, but not Dafook. I don't know. It had a different vibe to it.
Run me on sword.